How's it going, Critter Family? Hope you all are doing well. We are back at it again with Beckman. It's been a little while. I took a little break due to some burnout and mainly depression. My depression is back in tenfold, unfortunately. I've been off of the meds. I've slowly tapered off them with the doctor's, under doctor supervision and therapist supervision. I've been off them for over 2 months. The withdrawal has finally stopped. Um, I'm no longer feeling withdrawal symptoms, which can last that long, surprisingly. But my baseline is back to being, major depressive disorder. So, unfortunately for that, we're gonna go back to the doctor on Tuesday. I'm gonna be seeing my doctor and my therapist on Tuesday to see about how we can fix this because this is just it's ridiculous. I just can't do anything. Can't get anything done. I don't have any motivation to do anything. I barely have the energy to do anything. So, but sometimes, try again. Sometimes the first time you try something that's not going to work. There's no harm in trying something else. So, trying different treatments might take a little while to figure things out. So, anyways, I hope everybody else is doing well. I hope you and your critters are doing well. Missed you guys for sure. So today we're looking at Joel Beckman, How to Walk Your Distracted Wandering Dog. Learn to manage the pulling, sniffing, peeing, and insanity. To me, I don't know if insanity is a walk where your dog, just because your dog pulls, unless your dog is pulling and going everywhere and a million miles an hour and you're walking, 10 miles an hour just to keep up with your dog, and that'd be insanity. But if your dog just wanders and sniffs and just kind of does whatever and acts like a dog, I don't think that's insanity at all. I think he's definitely trying to hype up the intensity of what he's trying to portray here. You know him with his sensationalism. He's always trying to be more, make everything much more than it really is. So, without further ado, let's just get into it.
That are not mean to the dog, but also don't involve constant treating of the dog with my giant, stupid fanny pack treat thing and signing up
Yanks
for
the dog.
work.
Okay, so I have a couple things that I disagree with him on. When he is talking about the whatever methods, I'm assuming is what he's talking about. It was they showed him in mid sentence, so I'm assuming he said that they are not mean, meaning the methods. I'm going to assume is what he's saying. So his methods are very mean. His methods are cruel and in borderline abusive to some degrees abusive, depending on what he's doing with a dog. If he lets a dog run to the end of the leash and he pops them on the face when they have a head halter, that is abusive to me, and that is not how you use that tool, and that's not how you should ever treat any animal ever. But either way, he is very cruel. He is very mean. He's very unnecessary when he works with animals. He's a bad dog trainer. He was a bad whale trainer. He talks about the fanny pack, the big stupid fanny pack, which is, he has some issues with vanity. It sounds like he definitely does, because he always uses the tiny inconspicuous little treat pouch that he never uses treats for. He uses the dog's regular kibble for, like every other trainer like him does. I am proud to be a fanny pack in the fanny pack club. I'm proud to be a treat pouch holder. I like a big one that can hold lots of different compartments for lots of different things, clickers and bags and different types of treats, and maybe cards and your phone if you want, or toys or a ball, or leash clips or whatever. You can wrap up a leash and shove it in there, and I don't mind having a big treat pouch available because it allows me to have, I don't have to refill it every 5 minutes. I can have a bunch of treats in there and they can last for a couple of days. But even so, even if you don't like the big, the big treat pouch, that's fine too. But for him, in his case, he's the trainer here. If you're an owner and you don't want to have a big treat pouch, I can understand that. I mean, you should still have your pockets full of treats. You should still be willing to do, take the time it takes and put the work in. Otherwise, you can't expect that same, quality from your dog. You can't expect anything from your dog if you're not willing to put the work in. But same with him. If he's not willing to give up vanity for something that will reinforce the dog other than negative reinforcement and positive punishment, which is, we'll see here in a minute, which positive punishment means he adds something to correct the dog. Negative reinforcement means he releases something negative the dog deems negative as a way to reinforce a behavior. So if he wanted to make the dog sit, he would hold up on the leash until the dog sits, or push down on the butt until the dog sits. The dog sits and he releases that pressure. That's unnecessary, and that's not how I train. And he uses a lot of positive punishment. He adds things to correct the dogs. He gets off on correcting dogs.
The dog with my giant, stupid fanny pack treat thing.
And you know, when I walk a dog, I don't use treats either. But we are worlds apart in between the methods that we use and how we each train a dog. Between himself, himself and myself. Between Joel and myself, we are worlds apart.
And signing up
Drag.
for work. There are two things you need to know about taking your dog on a walk and having them be good. One is, have you ever seen a homeless person's dog pulling them down the street? You have
I have
not.
no idea what that
They
has to do with
travel
anything.
And walk with their dog all the time. So that's the first key. Go on a lot of walks. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'm going to show you
Okay,
what
that
to
means
do
go on a lot
the
of
leash
walks.
and the concepts involved in my loose leash walking methods, which involves.
But also, homeless or not, anybody can be as abusive and aggressive as they want to teach their dog not to pull, to stop their dog from pulling. And that doesn't mean anything. That's no excuse, whether you have a home or not.
No e-collars, no prong collars.
But he uses compulsion. He uses pop, yank, and crank methods. Pop and jerk and yank and crank, and you do what I say because I said it because I have opposable thumbs.
Very few treats. Here's the concept. Criteria for you turning or correcting is them leaving you on a walk. It is not them pulling. Once they are pulling, it is too late. When they leave you, that's when you are going to turn. They are going to hit the end of the leash of their own accord.
No, they will not, because you always pull the leash. We're going to watch your arms as you do it. You pull the leash. You pull the slack out of the leash when the dog gets to, they get away from you. You're going to stand behind them, and this dog is going to move forward, and you're going to pop the leash, and then you're going to walk the other direction. So the dog is not hitting it of its own accord, and the dog is not correcting themselves of their own accord because the dog is attached to you. If the dog were to be walking around, running around, and ran into a tree, they would be correcting themselves of their own accord because they weren't paying attention. They ran into the tree. They would correct themselves in that instance, in this scenario. Would it hurt? Sure. Maybe. Maybe not. But depending on the size of the tree, I'm picturing like a little chintzy baby tree. But they run into a twig or a tree or whatever, and they say, "Ouch, that hurt." Okay, next time I'm going to avoid that.
You are then going to walk the other way where it is more boring. I want you to understand that concept. The turning method is not meant to correct the dog.
Yes, it
necessarily.
is.
It is meant
Yes, it is.
for them.
He gets off on correcting dogs.
Once they leave you, they are now at the boring part. A walk is a very difficult thing.
No, they are at the part where they are going to get corrected, not at the boring part, because he never gives them the opportunity to learn for themselves to turn around. He doesn't stop over here and wait for them to turn around and come back to him. He continues walking and he pops them. And if they don't come quick enough, he's going to pop them again, or he's going to drag them. He doesn't give them the opportunity to experience the boredom, the quote unquote boredom over here.
For a dog. Even if they were there 2 hours before or 2 days before out in the front of your yard, it's all new. It's very stimulating. Your dog does not have the most exciting life in the history of the world.
They could if you gave it to them. If you gave them a more exciting life. And yes, just being in your front yard, a lot of people don't do this. What I used to do with Adonis, I would walk him in the front yard. I would walk him in the backyard. I would walk him for walks. But I would walk him on leash in the front yard because it wasn't fenced. And if I wanted to work on loose leash walking or recall or whatever else we were doing, we would be in the front yard. And that was new to him because he wasn't used to just having freedom out there to do whatever he wanted, which a lot of people don't. They don't do that with their dog, where you walk them in your front yard and you get them used to listening in a yard where they're used to being free, or in the backyard. A lot of people don't think to just walk their dog in the backyard. I like to walk them in the backyard and the front yard because we were working on distractions. First we start in the house, and then we work our way outside of the house in the yard, and then we work just down the street, and then so on and so forth. And you build up your distraction level. But most people don't think that. But a dog, when they're on leash and it's a whole new world to them if they actually just stay in the front yard and just sniff versus just walking past it to go for a walk around the block.
That big world is difficult to deal with, and they're expected to do it on this 6-foot leash and be generally right next to you. It's a hard thing.
It is a hard thing. So you need to give them that. You need to have lower expectations and give them that respect that it is a hard thing. It doesn't give you the right to just jerk and pop them.
So you got to start it in your house. Start it with my door.
Look at how rough he is just fixing that collar. He just yanks it up and fixes the dog's collar. That could be a cue for the dog if the dog were really light on leash. That would be a cue for Adonis.
This guy leaves. He's going to get a slight correction of which he gave to himself.
No, he didn't give to himself. You gave it to him. If you tether this dog, even if you tether this dog to this handle and the dog runs to the end of the leash, he is corrected by you because you put this contraption on him and you put him in this situation where he has no other option but to correct himself or to sit there nicely tied to a door. And if anytime he moves and he corrects himself, it's not on him, it's on you because you put him in that situation. If he runs into a tree on his own when he's off leash, that's his situation.
We're then going to turn back into my boring house. This isn't my house. You're going to turn back into your boring house. And you'll do it 5 times until the dog understands that that doorway is not to be flown through. Okay, this is Jet, 3-year-old dog, intact. He got here 10 minutes ago for the board and train.
I don't like board and trains most of the time.
Sure. Sit. This method of the doorway.
Very good sit. Not even a good boy, not even a pet, nothing.
I have, and I love it.
No reinforcement, just expectation and requirement.
Method so much, and 60% of the people don't understand it.
60% of the people don't want to be abusive like you, where they don't want to clothesline their dog and yank their dog at the end of the leash when they go running out the door and then drag them back in. It's not that they don't get it. They don't want to be like you. But yet they're so confused that they don't think to go to some other trainer that can teach them something else that doesn't involve hurting or harming or scaring or intimidating their dog.
Here's the concept. Flying away from me on a leash is never a thing that is reinforced. What would the reinforcement be?
Since the dog didn't get reinforced for sitting, he moves away.
You following them. They flew out, they pulled you out the door, and you followed them. I do not care about a sit, stay, and then a release if they fly. Everyone goes, oh yeah, my dog's great at that. He does a sit, stay, and he'll wait forever. And I go, and then when you release him, what does he do? And they go, oh yeah, he pulls.
Well, because you didn't work on the pulling in general. It's great that he does a sit, stay forever. If he's connected to a leash, I don't want him flying out the door because, he's connected to me. So that would be something that I would work on. If he goes out the door, I would walk him back in, I would close the door, and we would reset. And we would do that over and over until he decides to walk out the door with me calmly, then we can go on our walk. If it's just letting him outside, then I don't mind that he flies out the door as long as he's nice and calm at the door. Where I can open the door, I can release him. If he's in a sit, stay, or whatever, I open the door, it's wide open, then I release him after a couple of seconds, and he gets to go be a dog. And the dogs will learn the difference. When they're on leash, they don't pull. When they're off leash, they can be crazy. However, if the dog starts bolting and running through me, that's a problem. Then we would start, making sure that he comes through the doorway and out the doorway nice and calmly. But I'm not going to be using this leash method to teach him that.
What did you really do? You didn't do anything. You trained to sit, stay at a door, which is an easy thing to do because the reinforcement of being released out the door is so high you can train to sit, stay all day. It's the release that they can't pull. The same thinking on flying out this door is the same thinking of your dog walking down the street and flying at another dog. I want to get from point A to point B, from here to out the door, or from a walk to the dog, so you fix leash reactivity with the doorway method because getting out that door is almost as stimulating as getting to that dog. It's the same thinking. So you're essentially correcting the same sort of pathways in the brain. Jet, I'll do a sit, stay, because all you guys do it. Sit. Stay, and then I'm going to fake him out. Or he's going to fly out the store.
Fake out is the worst method, you could possibly use because it's just, you're lying to the dog.
I'm going to fake him out, and that's good.
That's not good. In my opinion, that's just rude and obnoxious, and it's obnoxious and unnecessary.
Everyone's like, you were confusing to the dog. Yeah, that's exactly right, I was confusing to the dog. Because the world is not a clear place. Okay. Oh.
And absolutely no reward for him coming back to him. No reward. Joel gets off on correcting and punishing dogs.
He did it. You're the best boy in the world.
But because he's a golden retriever, he cares about that praise.
Oh, I'll do this all day. Even though he's good, he's not perfect.
Well, dogs, nobody's perfect, Joel. I know you would like to think that you are. You got your head so far up your ass, you think that you're like the God's gift to dog training. You're not.
Is he checking in with me on the way out the door? You want your dog to walk down the street, see a dog, get all worked up and go, where's that guy? Where's that guy? Where's that guy?
I'd rather my dog not get worked up when they see a dog. My goal is that the dog is able to see a dog at a distance and say, "Oh, no, okay, whatever. I've seen that before." But I would rather them get worked up seeing me than the other dog. If they get worked up seeing another dog, then that's when, instead of them looking for me, I want to teach them, hey, you can look at that dog. You don't have to look at me. I mean, you know I'm here, but you can look at that dog, and over time, we're going to make you more calm when you see that dog that you've seen 1,000 dogs before. And that just because you see them doesn't mean you play with them, but that you still get good things, and that comes from me. So, yeah, if they check in with me, that's even better. I'm used to having a Shiba. My Shiba would, look at other dogs, but he wouldn't check in with me a lot with his eyes. He would use his ears. And so I was okay with that. With my next dog, I plan to get an Akita. So I don't know if I'll do the same thing with them or not. Certain breeds are really good at giving you eye contact. Certain breeds are not. Of course I could teach it, but I just didn't.
So he's not really doing that. He's being good enough. He's not being
Checked
good
in
enough
there
for this dog to go home at the board and train.
Okay, so he wants a perfect robot dog. This dog is perfectly fine. This dog is doing absolutely perfect.
10 minutes ago, so I wouldn't expect him to be. Okay. Oh, was he calmer?
Came back and checked at you.
So we're going to take that. Okay. Now, I don't give a cue. Okay,
Rough. He made him sit by jerking back on the leash. We're going to look back at that. Watch his left hand.
Now, I don't give a cue.
Pop.
Okay, let's
Dog
walk.
sat.
This is your driveway.
Now we walk. Kneeing in the face. I
do
hate
do
when
right
they knee
there?
in the face. I absolutely despise it when they knee them in the face like that. It's so unnecessary, and you're going to make the dog head shy.
Said, let's walk. It's not a cue. Where's he going?
Ouch.
Where is he going? I don't.
It may not hurt the dog like on a prong collar, but it's still enough. That's my instinct of timing of when he jerks the dog saying correction. When I say ouch, that means that's a correction. It may not hurt the dog, and people get annoyed by it, but you know what? How about you put yourself in this dog's shoes? Put yourself in this dog's point of view. You getting yanked around. You would get irritated too.
Train a heel with board and trains or with clients.
Drags him.
I train loose leash walking. I want to be able to walk and be free.
But that's not a loose leash walk for a dog, because it really is a heel. Like everybody else who says, oh no, it's loose leash walk is right by your side. It just has a big J in the loop. It's not heel. No, it's heel. You're teaching heel. Loose leash should be the dog is able to move around and sniff freely, not pulling, not dragging behind, not circling around you with the leash. But for me, loose leash walking is they can be in front of me or behind me or doing whatever they're doing, as long as they're not dragging me down or tripping me up with the leash or, running into me all over the place. They can go on their 6-foot leash or 10-foot leash if I have a 10-foot leash, which I do. I have anywhere from 20 to 30-foot leash, a long line, and they can go wherever they want to and sniff whatever they want to, as long as they're not acting like a crazy dog at the end of that leash and pulling me.
And not give cues
Yank,
all the time
yank,
and not
yank,
give treats
yank,
all the time.
yank. So see, the dog didn't go to the end of the leash and pop. He popped him 5 times there. Although it's on a flat buckle and he doesn't care.
Leave it.
Pop. So that wasn't him going to the end of the leash. That was you popping again. Somebody take a counter and see how many times he's corrected this dog in this video.
You want to train the concept.
Knee in the face.
Them following your body language, and them understanding that this 6-foot.
See, every time he does this, the dog gets slower and slower. Every time he does it. Every dog that works with him ends up getting slower and slower because they're trying to avoid the correction, and they end up getting corrected again. So there's no right answer for these guys.
Thing that is attached to them, of which you understand the concept of, but your dog has almost no clue of the concept of.
Yank. Yank.
I don't care where this
Yank.
dog wants to go. This dog needs.
See,
to
that's not the
feel
dog running to the end of the leash. That is you correcting
off
him.
of me.
Yank.
I don't
yank.
care that he wants to smell the
Yank.
ground and stop
Yank.
at everything. I am not going to beg him with a treat. The leash.
Neither would I. And what happened with that cut? What did you do with that cut, Joel? I ask everybody that. When there's a cut with training, I want to see what happened in between, because so much can happen in between. Maybe nothing. Maybe he let him go potty. Maybe not. I would like to see that. Of course, most people wouldn't like to see that because they want a shorter video, but I mean, mine go anywhere from right now we're already at 20 minutes and 5 minutes of 5.5 minutes of his.
He just said, oh, the leash matters. This guy matters.
So did
Oh,
you give him a harsh correction? There's another cut there. What happened there? When you go from no cuts in your training to cuts, I want to question that. What happened? Because you said, oh, now the leash matters. Did you give him a really harsh correction and he yelped? Did you give him a really harsh correction and he finally followed you?
now you're the greatest boy in the history of the world.
You're an idiot. The dog is absolutely the greatest dog in the world. This is learned helplessness, and this is a slave master.
And your dog stops and smells, and it's fine. You release them to let them pee.
See, that's a heel. That's a heel. Loose leash walking, and they should be allowed to sniff wherever they want, and you know, again, within limits, and pee when they need to, and this and that and this and that. But with heel, you have to release them. So he's teaching them heel just like he does with, just like any other trainer does. They teach heel as in under the guise of loose leash walking. It's all a lie.
And smell. When they're good, you release them. You'll even let them walk and not pull, but let them kind of cruise around. You're the best boy. You're so good.
If this were Adonis, he'd say, fuck you.
But
He wouldn't give a shit about
The dog
this.
just stops and smells, and then you just stand there forever, and you pull and
You can move them along. You're not just stuck there forever.
come, and you just stand there. It's enough of that, okay?
So either you act like a dummy and just act like, oh, I can't go anywhere because my dog's stuck here sniffing. Whatever should I do? Move forward? Call them to you? You know what? Put a little pressure on them until they move into it and then release the pressure? That's not jerking and popping, by the way. Or abuse. It's either be an idiot or be an abusive person. That's what he acts like the two options are. And he acts like people are so stupid that they don't know that there's a difference in between.
You release them to smell. You release them to poop. Release them all day for all I care. But it's got to be to a degree on your
Knees
your
into the
cue.
dog,
Dog's
less
gotta look out
trusting, lip lick from the
for
dog.
you. So this is
Fear.
your driveway. You should be doing a lot of turns. Then you go out on that walk. You notice he smelled. He constantly stopped. Leave it. He constantly
Pop.
stopped and smelled.
Because you didn't let him smell otherwise. If I'm out here working with a dog and I have them in a yard that they've never been in, I'm going to let them smell for at least 10 minutes to get the newness out. And then we start working. You don't just go into your yard and then start working if you've never been there before. Even if you've been there 2 days ago, guess what? It's new smells today. So I start them, especially if I'm doing recall on a long line, I let my dog, I would let Adonis, my Shiba, go and smell for at least 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes in the yard or wherever we were, whatever new environment we were going into, so he could smell, get all the newness out, and then he would be okay. He would be able to. He got the newness out, so he was able to work a little bit better, a lot better actually.
And then I gave him that one correction, and this dog.
Oh, he acts like that's okay. One correction over here that we didn't see because you cut it, and now we're gonna get to another correction. He's gonna say the dog is gonna walk to the end of the leash. Watch his arms.
Went. Oh, okay. Did I hurt the dog with that one correction?
So he cut the one correction that we saw. Did the dog yelp? See, this is why I question cuts. This is why I question cuts. It's so important, especially with quote unquote trainers like him. This is so important to question what happened. He cut that out. I'm assuming the dog yelped and that's why he cut it. Otherwise he would show it. The dog could have yelped at the end of it, made a little grunt, made some kind of a noise. For whatever reason, he wanted to cut it out of his video.
Correction? Absolutely not. Do you guys generally give that one correction? Absolutely not.
We didn't see it because you didn't show it.
Because you've been told that you can't. Or I don't know why you do it.
Because they don't want to be abusive like you, jackass.
I don't know why you guys don't do it. But
because they don't want to be abusive. I'll say it all day long. Because you are an abusive idiot.
He's a different dog from that one thing.
From that one correction. You gave him several corrections over here. You popped him. So one and done is one of the more abusive techniques and tactics you can use with a dog. If you do it so hard that one time that they don't ever do it again, that is absolute, no doubt about it, abuse. And the dog is still staying away from him. Jerk.
Leave it.
Knee. Drag. Drag.
I don't really care that this dog wants to smell the concrete. It matters to me zero.
It
Because
matters to me more because I would allow the dog to sniff. I don't have a problem if they sniff. I don't care if they sniff. As long as they're not there for 25 minutes. Even 2 minutes. I'll let them sniff a little bit and then I'll say, come on. And then on we go. And because we have a better bond than this guy and this dog, they will follow me because I don't abuse them.
eventually, I'm going to not want this dog to do something else. To attack a dog, to
This technique is not going to stop them from attacking a dog. And that's a whole other can of worms. You got a whole lot of other issues that, especially if you have a dog that wants to attack another dog, you should not use this method because it's going to make the dog worse. The dog will redirect on you. It'll make the dog more reactive. It's no excuse to use abusive tactics on a dog just because that they are reactive or they have a bite history with other dogs.
come to me. I'm going to not want, and if he, leave it.
Pop.
And if this dog goes, okay, that guy's voice matters, those cues matter, the tone of that guy matters.
He snuck in some sniffs.
Then you can use
lip lick.
behaviors like loose
When he
leash
stopped,
walking,
the dog
or
lip
my
licked.
recall method or my doorway
The
method.
dog could be trying to sniff because it's trying to self-soothe itself. It's trying to, self-soothe. He's probably trying to give calming signals to this guy. Like, dude, calm down. Relax.
They will
He's trying to keep distance from him because he's afraid of him. He doesn't know when he's going to stop and turn and knee him in the
bleed into
face.
everything else. When you want them to not growl. We'll do this all
Yank.
day, Jet.
Yank.
All day.
If you do it all day, then you suck as a trainer. You are a shitty ass trainer. If you do this all day long, you are a terrible trainer. What happened to your once and done, dude?
When this thing's on, life is not a game. He can have a great life on our walks.
No, he can't because it's a robot life for you. For him, really. But you make them into robots. It's not going to be a great life. It's not a great life for him at all because he can't sniff. He can't sniff. He can't walk at his own pace. He has to walk at your stupid human pace. He can't sniff. He can't pee when he needs to. He can't say hello to other dogs. He can't do anything without your say-so, boss. Sniffing the ground, boss. Scratching my ear, boss. Taking a piss, boss. God, this guy is a joker.
Going on a walk for his exercise. And if there's constant stopping, if there's constant...
And getting him out of the house because you keep him in the house locked up all day long anyway. So it's not just for his exercise. It's for his mental sanity. Lock you up in a bathroom all day long and you never get to go and see the outside world. You're going to go crazy too. But the only time you get to go out is when you run. The only time you get to go out is when you walk and you can't look at other things. They have blinders on you. That's essentially what you're doing to your dog. They put a blindfold on you. You don't get to experience the world. They put earplugs in you. You just to go walking because the human sense of smell is so poor. That'd be the only sense they would leave for you. Because for a dog, their sense of smell is so strong. That's everything to them.
Nobody's enjoying it.
No, you're not enjoying it. So only the human gets to enjoy the walk is what he's talking about. He's training you he's training you that only the human gets to enjoy the walk, not the dog. You're walking for the human just like CJ Milan does, and the dog is just lucky enough to come along.
To move. And then when I get to an interesting spot, I'll release him. Okay. I'll release him. I will let the leash go. I will walk with him. Sometimes I even let a dog pull after a release as they walk down the bushes and marsh.
Well, that's just confusing. I never want a dog to pull to go sniff to a leash or to a bush, not a leash, to go sniff to a bush. I never want a dog to pull because then that reinforces it. He is such a joker that he doesn't even know what he's reinforcing. He's so confusing to the dog.
And we'll do this a lot, but I'm not doing, when I'm walking and he's stopping, that's not the way this thing goes.
It can be.
That's not the way life with your dog should go.
No, with him and his dog, because he's a control freak. With my dog, I don't care where they go, what they sniff, as long as they're not pulling me down or acting crazy.
Oh,
if
Joel,
they are, then I'll deal with
I
it.
don't want my dog to be a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you do in a way when they're on leash.
No, don't tell them what they want and what they don't want. They told you they don't want their dog to be a robot. And he says, yes, you do. When they're on leash, they are a robot. This guy is such a flipping idiot.
And then you can choose to release them at any moment. But you want some robot moments.
No, you don't.
Want
You never want a robot moment because your dog is not a robot. That is the dumbest thing I've ever actually heard him say. And he said a lot of stupid stuff.
some semblance of what's a robot? A robot's something that does what you say all the time. You choose
Yank.
when you want them to do what you say. You choose it. And maybe it's
They are a living creature with a mind of their own. They are not a robot. If you want a robot, go buy a damn robot. Go buy a slave. Not like, an actual living creature slave. Buy a robot and make it your slave. I mean, I'm sure Tesla has them nowadays. Robot dogs or robot something. They have little robots. I'm sure you could buy that. If you want that, a dog is a living creature. Look at this tight dragging right here. This dog has no bond with him, and they will lose all bond with their owners if they follow exactly what Joel says.
0.01%.
And this poor dog is here for a board and train. At least 2 weeks, I'm assuming. Maybe 10 days. But even then, that is 10 days too long.
Well, at least you have it in your back pocket when you want that 0.01% of the time of them being a robot.
I don't want them to be a robot. I don't want my dog to ever be a robot. I want my dog to be a dog that I have put the time into teaching them to listen reliably to me. Zach George's dogs are not robots. Kiko Pup's dogs are not robots. Healer Mama's dogs are not robots. They are all very reliable dogs because they have a bond with their owner, something that he will never understand. And they haven't sold their soul to the devil to make their dog absolutely perfect. They don't expect their dogs to be perfect, but look at how reliable they are. Unlike you, your own dog doesn't listen to you, and he's a robot.
Know how to do it. Know how to make them a robot, then never
Know how to make them a
But if you
robot.
don't
Oh,
know-
lovely. So break down their soul and make them develop learned helplessness. Make them that broken soul, but then never use it. So you just break his heart and his soul to think that one time you need him to be perfect. So he's perfect all the time. So you never have to ask him to be perfect.
Know how to do it. Where's he going?
He's trying to avoid
I'll
you.
do this
Maybe he's
all day.
hot.
I don't even mind where this guy is. I do not mind that he is this far away from me on a leash. I don't really mind
Drag.
if he's
I don't mind he's this far away from me on a leash. Drag.
this far away from me on a leash. I
Drag.
don't really mind if he's on my right
He's
or
such a liar.
my left. I don't really care. I care that this guy understands that
Lip
simple
lick.
stuff. It's not even anything interesting on the ground.
There is to him because he's a dog. There's a little wet spot there that is clearly very interesting to him.
Simple stops and saying, I'm going to stay here and smell nothing is
It's not nothing to him. It's nothing to you because you don't have that sense of smell. It's not nothing. It's very important to him.
not the way this thing works. He's been here.
So be a slave.
Where's he
So
going?
he's just
Look at
going
the
to
camera person. Camera person doesn't matter. That person on the
matters
wall.
to him. Okay, let's watch the most
Walk.
replayed.
And your dog's 80% better? 50? Maybe 30? 8 minutes of walking in a big boring circle and your dog's
Drag.
30% better?
Corrects him. And he actually bumped him in the knee
Give him
that
a
time.
tactic there. Let's see if that helped.
Let's
All right,
bump
he
him
went
in the
back
knee
to
now.
his
Let's be
normal
physical.
Smelling spot. I did
Drag,
not say
drag,
leave it.
drag,
I
drag.
walked into him.
You bumped him with your knee in the head. I'm not saying that's abuse, but that's entirely unnecessary.
He's got like he's intact.
That has nothing to
Oh.
do with this.
Smell your spot.
Sets him up for failure and then drags him along.
This
Jesus,
is
dude.
a process that will pay dividends.
Knees him
if
in the
you
head
can
again.
Run the
This dog has such stress lines and stress tongue. It's not even
clock
funny.
out. If you can, it's a war of attrition with this particular dog. I'm just learning.
A
See this guy.
war. It's a war with this
It's a war
dog.
of attrition where he's going to say, I'm going to smell, and eventually this dude's going to let me stay here and smell. But I'm not.
No, he's not. He just says, why the hell am I going in a circle for 12 minutes?
Now, ever since I walked into him, have we seen it? We stopped over there. And I
He
said,
stunk
"Where-
a sniff
why are
over
you
here and
stopping?"
you
I'm
didn't
walking-
see it.
I don't care if his nose is to the ground. I care if he stops. Oh, Oh, now you're going to, okay. He's just scratch. That's fine. We're not tyrants.
Yes, you are. You're an absolute tyrant. An absolute
We're
tyrant.
not, we're not listening to treat, 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 treat.
Nobody said you had to.
Walks and treat and treat and treat. We're not doing it. I don't do that
Nobody
with my
said you had
kids.
to.
I don't do that with my employees.
Yeah, clearly you don't. Clearly you don't. Clearly.
All of them get reinforcement.
Barely. Barely. I don't know why anybody would ever work for this jackass.
But we're not begging. We're not begging.
You don't have to beg. You're an idiot if you have to beg.
He's bored. Great. You should be bored in life. Your kids. They look at the iPads
No,
too
God,
much.
he has such a stupid view on life. Your dog should be bored on the walk. The walk is for the dog, jerk. All right, let's look at my video. Okay, so here we have Adonis. This is the end of my video. My video has other, stuff where I'm showing. I have two different videos. This one shows an example of me using a fake dog and explaining everything and how it works. But I'm just going to show you the end where we see it on Adonis. So he's sniffing. I'm allowing him to sniff. If I don't want him to eat this grass here because he gets itchy from it, or he used to, bless his cute little soul.
He likes to eat. Take fingers.
Take a finger. He moved into it that
He came
gently.
on his own with that. That wasn't because of the leash. I say I don't want him eating this. I'm gonna pull him away.
Use a
from
finger on a harness that clips in the back. He gave me a step in because I've taken time over the years to perfect this to make him so soft that he will listen to something like that. That little bit of tension on him, moving his harness to the side. I almost call it a saddle. I've been doing too many horsey videos. Moving his harness to the side tells him move in this way towards pressure and it gets released.
Pull him away again.
So watch the tension. The instant he comes in, I loosen that leash. I'm not yanking on him. I'm not telling him leave it. I'm not kneeing him in the head. We continue walking and sniffing. I miss going on walks with this little man.
Yeah, he wants to chew on this grass here.
He's stinking cute.
Bring him away. Loose him. That much.
And he's still able to sniff. He wants to eat.
Because he wants to chew on this grass. But he gets
Bring him
itchy from
back.
it, and I want him eating that. So this is just
He's allergic to the grass there, and who knows what was on it. So
So now we're walking. I don't care where he is in front of me. He can have this whole leash.
I think this is like an 8-foot leash right here.
Now we'll just stop walking forward. Leash gets tight.
See, he kind of, I still made it as light as I could so he didn't just go, and clothesline himself there. He wasn't running full speed anyway, but that's how much I care about my animals and how I work with them. So he's at the end of his leash, which I don't normally do this.
Moving to the side.
I'm trying to take him off balance.
Sure step.
He gave me a step. He's confused.
Good boy. Oh, yeah.
That snort could have been like, Mom, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Taking some slack. Now there's a loose dog over there, so
Over there.
we'll let them pass.
I let him sniff. We're standing there together.
Loose dog.
I stopped him again.
If Adonis were to try to go for him,
Loose dog.
or be reactive,
Owner.
I would just bring him back a step. Again,
So now he's focused on the other dog, but he's still listening
step away.
to the pressure. He looked at me like, wait, what are you doing? You don't normally do this? Because normally I would just stand there and let him look. And if he started pulling, then I would bring him back.
It may not pass, so
At the time, forgive me for the recording, at the time I was recording it on a potato.
I might just go ahead and go. Anyway,
So I shortened my leash up a little bit.
we're gonna go.
We start walking. And see, I didn't have to tell him anything. He sat there and stayed on his own until I started walking. I didn't tell him stay. I didn't tell him anything. He just stood there on his own and he just waited because when he feels tension on the leash, he knows just stand there and wait and I'll come fix it because usually that means he's stuck. So my good boy, I didn't have to say anything. He just waited there. Is he constantly checking in on me? No, but I don't care. He gives me his ears. Look how chunky and fluffy that little neck is. God, look at all that skin. And some people might say it's fat, but it could be. But just his tiny little ears. So he went to go sniff. We're walking. He's ahead of me.
Walking. He has all this
He has all this leash.
Once.
He's not a robot. Believe me, he was far from a robot. He was the best dog I could ever have asked for. But he was, and he was not a robot.
This is him most of the time.
He
Yeah,
just
never
meets my
tricked
pace
him
and I meet his pace.
or popped him to teach him to be.
He's on the back of a harness. He got scared by some balloons. I allow him to get scared. I allow him to sniff, and I allow him to, as I said, sack out, you know, or which is a horsey term, or desensitize. In other words, I allow him to be desensitized to these here balloons, and I'm not jerking him, popping him, telling him to leave it or ignore it. I want him to be able to sniff this, and I will allow him to take, you know, I will allow him to take as long as he wants to sniff them.
See, I'm not forcing him. He's gonna put his own pressure.
He walked away on his own.
Good boy. He can get release. Good boy.
And I short my leash so he's not going to go up this person's driveway too much.
Yeah, his loose
I let him
leash. If I
sniff.
tighten, he might react more. Because he feels trapped. Good boy. So I gave him a minute to figure out what it was. Just some balloons. Ah, good boy.
I allow him to sniff again. I stop. I don't care. I'm on a leisure walk. I like little
He's
breaks.
just excited. He might pull a little bit. That's okay. There's a little doggy over there. You just saw him. Come on, Bubba.
So here, I don't want him to stare at this other dog because this other dog, I think his name was Charlie or something. I think Charlie would have barked at him. You know, Charlie liked to bark at the fence. So I didn't want Adonis to set him off. So that's why I said, okay, let's go. And let's go back and look at how much energy it took me to call him off.
There's a little doggy over there.
So he's watching.
You just saw him. Come on,
Let's see if I have to use a leash at all.
Bubba. Use the same pressure.
Okay, I use a little bit of leash pressure and he moves. Wow, it's a miracle.
Cute little doggy. Good boy.
And there he goes. He goes after him. But I'm able to stop him.
Back and forth.
It's good to see this. He pulls a little bit.
I know. Hey, hey, hey.
So he's going after the lawnmower. We were over threshold.
I know. Good boy.
And he still goes right back to loose leash. Joel would never allow that. Joel would not have allowed that to ever happen. He would be crazy. Look, I was filming. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't prepared. I don't have treats on me either. But he went for it. But I just used the same pressure going back and forth, you know, meaning I pull him back a step. He goes into it. I loosen. He's going to pull again to go towards that lawnmower. I'm going to bring him back a step again and loosen. And over time, he's going to learn to be able to ignore the lawnmower or be sassy with it, but on a loose leash. But afterwards, he gives a shake off,
Thompson.
and he goes right back into loose leash.
Focus on him more
Oh,
than
Thompson
the
was the
dog.
dog's name, not Charlie. Thompson. So him and Thompson went at it for a little bit.
I just use pressure release. It's not beyond these nice plants. Good boy. Good boy.
And that was that. That was the end of the video. So that's how I got, you know, I mean, I made Adonis just that soft, and that's exactly what I would do if I were working with the dog that Joel was working with. And I work with anybody and everybody's dog the same exact way to make them so soft that you just need a finger's worth of pressure on the back of a harness that clips in the back. This little clip here is just an extra bonus. You know, it's clipped to a piece of string here on this leash. So in case this clip comes undone, he's still attached to the harness. The leash is still attached to the harness. That was just a little extra bit, you know, because I'm a helicopter mother, or I was with him. But yeah, so that's how I teach loose leash walking versus how Joel teaches it. You can work either way, whichever way you want, or you don't have to listen to either of us. You can listen to Zach George or Victoria Stillwell or training positive or positive canine, Kiko Pup, Grisha Stewart. There's all sorts of great, you know, examples out there of how you can learn to teach a dog to walk on loose leash. So this is just what I do. I use pressure and release, but as light as a finger's touch
I lose.
on my dog.
One more
Bring
way
him back
again.
one more time. Finger,
Fingers,
loosen.
up and loosen. Good boy.
So anyways, so we're going to end it there. Thanks for watching. Go say howdy do to your little critters. Say howdy do for me. Give them some kind of love and they appreciate. Until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.